You're listening to Mudville Sounds.
Gathered in our dining halls with all the elegance and etiquette of a high tea. Praise be to the funk, and hold our pinkies thusly. Hit it, Jeeves. Important and precious to me. I can't feel you when you're steep. I can't keep your deep and mysterious love. Girl, pour it in the fine china for me. And when you kick me up to the highest key, all the rhythm goes in my heart, girl, beating, bump, bump, rockin' like me. The heat you dispense, don't leave me on the fence, just ease me in mean, like sugar and cream. I wanna give to you the hardest part with my moves intact. I won't tell you how to act, no authority on this scenario. When you kick me up to the highest key, all the rhythm goes in my heart, girl, beating, bump, 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 baby, steam it like tea, steam it like tea, steam it like tea, steam it on and out.
So I'm sitting here with Kelly Foley at In Season.
Hello. It's nice to see you all.
Yeah. And so we're going to talk a bunch about your music history here and incorporate it into the Stockton background, right?
Yeah.
So let's talk about some origins.
Origins, okay. I was born in Bakersfield, California, and that's the Nashville of California, so country music was a big thing. And my mother's brother is in the Country Music Hall of Fame. His name is Bill Woods, and he discovered Buck Owens, Merle Haggard. They all tutored under him because he had a club in Bakersfield in the 50s that was called the Blackboard Cafe. And it was sort of the roughneck part of country music, sort of like the punk rock part. In Bakersfield, there was sort of like the waltzing ballad part, and then there was my uncle and his group of, they were like the Clash, but with steel guitar. And So that was my mom's side, and then my dad, my mom and their family, preachers, came from Texas, and then my dad came from a construction Irish family from the Midwest, from Indiana, settled in Bakersfield, and so his music thing wasn't country music, it was more, jazz and that kind of stuff. And he was an athlete. There was athletes. My aunt was a pro golfer and stuff like that. But on that side of the family, I had a cousin who did the soundtrack for Edward Scissorhands. He was just amazing.
Oh, wow.
He was a classically trained organist, and he did like the L.A. Boys Choir. He was the conductor for it. Anyway, his name was John Ratzenberger, and that was the two poles of music that I had, and we moved to Stockton in the early 60s, and I just sort of went from when I was about 4 years old is when the Beatles hit, and so that took up a lot of time. I had older sisters. I had four sisters. 3 of them were older. So as time went on, when I'd be about, I had kind of an adult upbringing in that I was babysat by older teenagers a lot, me and my younger sister. So when we went to the beach, it was just like a Frankie Avalon movie. There'd be like 16 teenagers doing the beach bunny thing and burying us in the sand. It was eye-opening. And then, and also, like at home, when you're 8 years old and there's a whole bunch of kids sitting in the dark with one green light and you have to be quiet and they're playing The Doors. When the music's over, and if you make any noise, you have to leave the room according to my sister's rules. Yeah. It's powerful, And so that was sort of like my first thing into sort of the poetry of that kind of music, The Doors, Jim Morrison and stuff. But at the same time, on the other end, my dad was really into film. So, he didn't look at it this way, but he turned me on to Godard and Hitchcock and all these really great, he just really liked, Frankenheimer. He liked all these really great, gritty movies. So I got to see the history of it. And he just took us, me and my mom and my sister, we just went to every movie that came out, if we could. So with all of that happening, by the time that I was maybe 13 and in Stockton, and all the 60s had happened, and the Patty Hearst kidnapping and Vietnam and everything about it. And I was like 13 years old. I was just this little kid with super big wide eyes going, what's next? And the Beatles broke up too, which was really rough. That was rough for kids because they were like a cartoon.
Well, that was what, 69, 70?
69, yeah. And so me and my friends stood after her in classes. What are we gonna do? And
the last I found out the last show that the Beatles had was
Candlestick Park.
Yeah, on August 29th, which is my birthday.
Whoa, 66?
No, I was born in 85, but August 29th.
Wow.
But yeah, I have a copy of the poster for the show.
That's a cool poster.
Because it's August 29th, so I'm like, dude, I have to have that poster.
That's an old picture of the Beatles too. I remember that.
Yeah, no, killer.
So yeah, when the Beatles broke up, I had a little downtime there, and so I wasn't a musician or anything. I was an artist though, which this is hard to convey, but back in the old days when I was a kid and all the other people were my age and stuff. If you had a school and there was 400 people in it, there was maybe 2 artists, So that was a big deal. You could really get a lot of, game off of that. It's not like that anymore, but
everybody's an artist now, right?
It's fantastic, though. I think it's really great. But at the time, I was making quarters for drawing pictures of football players and
Nice.
And so I was into that, but in music, I couldn't really figure out what to do because my older sisters were all married off, and so the radio was happening, and that's when that sort of really killer Sly and the Family Stone, Family Affair, and Curtis Mayfield, Freddie's Dead, and all those great movies that were like that, like Superfly and Shaft, and it was such an awesome time. And you could go to movies all the time, too, which was really fun. It was, 50 cents. And so all the soundtracks of movies which tended to be R&B and soul, were the best hits that were coming from movies, were on the radio. So you'd hear Across 110th Street and Shaft and Superfly and Freddy's Dead, and just go on and on and on, and it was just incredible. And then, and I'm 11, you know, and then, bam, Hubcap Diamond Star Halo. I heard those words, man, right in the middle of this song that was on the radio, and I was just going, what is that? And there's this, like, rock and roll. Oh, my God.
Oh, that's funny. That's awesome.
And so, yeah. T-Rex, man. T-Rex, bang a gong. T-Rex, bang a gong. And since then, I've never really gone off of that blueprint. I'm not able to do it. I can't sing or play guitar like Mark Bolan or look like him or anything like that. But that, like, poetry of that, and then that thing that just, like, locked at that beautiful 50s rock and roll, and that poetry, it's unbelievable. Still is.
Heck yeah.
Or there you go.
Heck yeah. So what was you have this awesome write-up in front of us with all of your bands from 1975 all the way up till now, which is absolutely amazing. So let's talk about...
Some of these are like gigs I did too.
Okay.
Opening for Echo and the Bunny Man.
Well, let's talk about like your first band.
Oh,
how did that come about, and what
spawned it? So what can you say on this?
Anything you want.
Really? Okay. All right. Well, okay, so I made up, me and my friend Jeffrey Clark, weren't really feeling how music was going, and I just want to put it in perspective for the listener. In 1975, it was coming off this super awesome time of like the early 70s with all that stuff I was naming, and in addition to that too, you had all the big glam rock and big stacked heels and all these and Rock On by David Essex, and look it up, man. It was incredible, and that was just one thing, and then there was all these great hard rock bands, just the Led Zeppelin, it was just blasting. And then at about 74, I'm not sure what happened. Everything went kind of soft in a weird way, and you could hear it. And even bands that we liked were putting out 3 album sets and not really trying, and it was weird. And we were too young to figure it out, so we just made our own world, and it was called Dope and Roll. And in Dope and Roll, what we did is after school, just sort of show up at this friend's house and had all these felt pins, and everything's before the internet, please remember this. Felt pins, and then some Rolling Stone magazines and Cream magazines and stuff, and we would kind of draw pictures of what these guys look like, but alter them a little bit and make new bands out of them. So we had, Drop the Razor Gramps, The Electric Cheek Sleep, Don't Laugh, You're Next, Cry Sucks, Jimmy Thudpucker, it just goes on. Over 200 bands. Yeah.
These were band
and
names.
they had albums. So if you got the album by Drop the Razor Gramps, their third album was called Future Bugs, and the lead singer of Drop the Razor Gramps, Sir Photon Brainwave, was the guy that wrote Future Bugs, right? So you could pick up this album. Our friends would come over and go, let's see the new album. And we used to vote them. We did 200 of them.
Oh, wow.
And our friends would come over, and every time we'd do 10, our friends would come over and do this thing that was called Poll in a Peacoat, and you voted on, there was no music that it was just album covers. But there was a guy named Dogie Neutron. He was a dog, and he was from outer space. There was a whole movement that was called Yow Yow, and it was from outer space, and it was these dudes that played funk music, but they were from outer space, and they had all these attachments that they could play. It's not that far from what happened with Afrofuturism. I was going, that's kind of dope and roll. Anyway, point is, Erykah Badu would go, then you're on it. Anyway, so we had like Aphrodisiacs, 200 records. And so when we did that, out of that came this band. One of them was called the Huns. Of course, you have to have kind of like a Ramones, kind of like.
Sure.
This is all before. This is the other thing too. I always like to point this out. This was before punk rock, and while we're doing this, punk rock happened, and all of a sudden there's bands called the Buzzcocks and stuff, and we're like, hey! That was our idea, man. But their music was so great. Coming out of English, and we go, oh, okay, we surrendered. Right. It was fantastic. Great time. So we did the Huns, and so the reason the Huns happened was Randy Covey, my friend, was with his girlfriend, and I was with this guy named John Kelly, and we had just had it not being able to be in a band, even though we couldn't play music. John Kelly could play music, I couldn't yet. But we were just going to do it anyway. So we went over to Randy Covey's house. Went over to Randy Covey's house in his apartment, and the blue light, you can see the whole thing sitting there with his girlfriend going, what's up, guys? You know? And we go, we're starting a band. And he goes, out, but not here, right? And we're going, right now. And so we went out onto his balcony in this little apartment, and we had, this is the other thing too, everybody at that time had hair that went like down to their hips. Man, I had this awesome, not now, but back then, it's beautiful shank of like horse hair. Just pure, you know. And so John did too, so we took it and wrapped it up like that, and we had these big, what are those things called? Top knot?
Okay.
Yeah, we made top knots, and they could kind of see us, and they're looking out, going, "What are they doing?" You know? And so we come back in, and we go, "We're the Huns," and Randy goes,
God.
"Just get it over with fast, man." Yeah.
Oh man.
And so, what we worked out on the origin story, right? What we worked out on the balcony was that we had a song called "My Girlfriend Goes to School."
Okay.
We had that much. And so we went in there and kind of like this, and I think I was maybe a mop, something. I was holding something. Yeah, miming. And we're like this, and we had our top knots. And John Kelly was a singer, and we performed this song. This is important. My Girlfriend Goes to School. And Randy's girlfriend was like, just make it stop. And she was like yelling that. And Randy was looking at it, it's like, is this going to happen a lot? You know, and we made it, I don't know, a verse and a half.
That's funny.
You know, and they're, and then, I swear this is true, in Dope and Roll, that thing we've been doing, there was a band called Z Locust, and Z Locust had a song called Smoke a Little Thunder, and Smoke a Little Thunder happened to have all the words written out. Some of the the Energy from Omaha had all of their songs written out. They were great, and Baboons with Bazooka. Anyway, Smoke a Little Thunder. Me and a couple of friends took that, and in an Andy Kaufman kind of sort of theater of cruelty way, we went and auditioned for this thing at Delta College. I was still in high school, for the Gong Show, right? So the Gong Show here in Stockton.
Okay.
And if you won that, you went to on the Real Gong Show. Right?
Oh.
So we went again with the top knots.
Top knots.
Yeah. But this time I'm playing. By this time, this is about 6 months later, so I'm playing guitar by this time, and we kind of mutate. We kind of mutate. What's that song? All Along the Watchtower.
You graduated from the mop to the guitar.
I learned 4 chords. I could play Hendrix, man. And so we took All Along the Watchtower, kind of those chords. It's in a lot of songs, and we did a song called Smoke a Little Thunder, which had the words. Jeff wrote the words, and it had words like. Spike in numbers is a pink pastime, and you can do it with Toad the Mime. And then people start going, Toad the Mime, Toad the Mime. The reason I'm telling you this is because we were like, there was no way we did it so we wouldn't get, we were like a Dada surrealist prank. Like Andy Kaufman, it was anti-comedy, anti being serious.
Sure.
But we're serious as hell. We laid it down. So smoke a little thunder when you get a chance. Smoke a little thunder, make you want to bust your pants. I swear to God.
No.
I swear to God. So we do it, and we look at each other like, oh man, they're gonna call the cops when we're at the. And then this guy, this is a true story, man. This guy, one of those dudes, is like, I see it. he's got 4 other people. He's got 4 other people sitting there kind of looking at us with their pencils, and he's leaning back and he's going,
yeah, all right, I could get into it, right? That's funny.
Can you get a leather jacket? And we're like, look at each other. What? And he goes, okay, here's how I say it. You can still be called the Huns, but I need some Chuck Berry. I need some, like, Happy Days. I need some, some, like, kind of, Sha-na, a little bit. Do something. I need you to do Johnny Be Good. You guys are in. You're in. And we're like, wait, but no.
Johnny Be Good. All right. Yeah.
So, I had to call up my friend in Berkeley who wrote the song, Smoke Little Thunder Jeff, and said, will you play the Civic on it? Will you dress up in a leather jacket and grease your hair back like whatever that guy is in Sha-na-na? And join us, and we're called the Huns, and he goes, yeah, sure. And then we got a drummer, and we practiced. And at the time, I was working in a waterbed place, too. And my boss was so blown away that we were going to audition for the Gong Show and that we were going to be on it, that he goes, you can use the warehouse that we had. And so, man, we were in this. It was awesome. It was a good beginning for a band, and we were just fucking terrible. Oh, my God.
That's funny.
And we got second place. Weird.
Wow. Yeah. There you go. That's not bad.
Yeah, we got second place. So, and imagine this. So, like, you never played before. So, like, I'm like, oh, man, just my hands are sweating. I don't want to do this. And we're lined up, and people are getting up there and going, doing their songs, And there was, 50 contestants, And so we're in this big cattle call. And we get up there, and we do it. And then a few people after us played, and they announced it, and it was the people that did a Peaches and Herb song, You Don't Have to Be a Star, Baby. That song, they went with that. They were really good. They were professional musicians.
There you go.
So, I mean, we were like, surrender. Second place. We got second place.
That's not bad.
And so we're going, okay. Then we became the Mixers, and we were the first, from what I can tell. If anybody's listening to this, that's my friend, rock me on this, but like when punk rock hit, we were already a band, and we were doing like 60s, we were doing 60s punk, while everybody else in town in Stockton, you wouldn't know, you weren't born, but everybody else in town was doing, good stuff, but Eddie Money and Foreigner and classic rock that's like, wear the scarf and Mexico, that stuff, Steve Miller and all that, and there'd been no girls bands yet either. There was no band that had a girl singer, except like out this way there was like Stone Ground, but they were like Janis Joplin, those kind of singers.
Stone Ground Family.
Yeah,
I have some of those albums.
Awesome. It's incredible.
Heck yes.
Yeah, man.
Good stuff.
And with that lady say Lydia and Pinto and all that stuff, Cold Blood. Anyway, so we were doing Kinks.
Nice.
But minor key, like the dark Kinks,
okay.
like, Till the End of the Day and all that kind of stuff. And we were doing, like early Beatles and early Stones and the Small Faces. And we were doing, like, pushing to a lot of American garage band, like the 13th Floor Elevators, man, and like Psychotic Reaction by the Count 5. Oh man, I want to be in that band again. It was really fun. And we only did like a couple of songs, and we did the Doors, and oh man, and we only did a couple of songs that were brand new, and the ones that we did that were brand new were like, you wouldn't know this, but you wouldn't have been able to experience this, but when Elvis Costello first out, he was like a punk guy, and he was real killer, like, and so we did one Elvis Costello song, and we did a Clash song, and we did like a Sex Pistol song,
nice.
And maybe one by the Damned or something like that. But so we had that too, and we could pull it up. But we played, we played all the high schools here, St. Mary's. So that was the Mixers, and that was the name of the Mixers came from Clockwork Orange. So we had everything we needed. Okay, we got our names from Clockwork Orange. Our hair's like the Rolling Stones in '65. We all dress like this. Everybody else is doing Foreigner and stuff, and we're doing like You're Pushing Too Hard, And then punk rock hit, and we're like, yeah,
you're it.
Yeah,
Heck
so that, and then, then I was out of that band, but they kept going and moved to Berkeley and started playing open for Jim Carroll and a bunch of good, like, Love and great stuff.
Nice.
And so when they would come back to Stockton, punk rock bands, which you probably would have heard of, but these guys, like the Authorities and Surrogate Break,
yeah.
Those guys were all I don't want to say children because we're not that much older than them, but they would open.
They were the new ones on the scene, yeah.
And they were like into Iggy and the New York Dolls, and this was stuff I was into. You know, it was a very small scene. There was zero. It was like this big, you know, and all of us hung together, and it was awesome. That was a great time.
Heck
and
yeah.
then so that was that. That was that band, the Mixers. Yeah,
The
it started out
Mixers.
as a clique, right? Well, my first band was Jimmy Jimenez, then it was the Click, the Huns.
There you go. There you go.
What does this say right
The
here?
Click is 1977. You got on your list here
we
with
played
the
at my
Mixers.
high school graduation. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we became the Mixers.
And
then
Baby Frenzy. I love that, dude.
Yeah.
Baby Frenzy.
Baby
That's
Frenzy
a
was
killer name.
Baby Frenzy was a dope and roll band.
Okay.
Yeah. And in the and so in the dope and roll album cover. There's a full stage, and it looks like it's Russia with all these lights and everything, and it's got all the instruments, but it's got all these babies crawling on. It's a great album.
Gosh.
Oh, Baby Frenzy. They were
hilarious.
awesome. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So I'm gonna ask. Do you remember your first guitar?
Yeah, it was an old Craftsman. You know, because my uncle, right, was
Okay.
and so my mom got me one of those, like, you know, like hee-haw looking guitars. You know?
A hee-haw looking guitar.
Yeah. You know what I mean? It's got like the rope that went around it, and like you put your fingers on it, you go, ow! You know,
Okay,
they're
so like
iron
super
strings.
high action
Ow!
acoustic kind of.
But it
all
had
right.
like, well, come on over here, cousin Kelly, and play me some guitar. It's like, all right, man, you want to hear some Bowie? You know.
Oh gosh, that's funny. So when you were with those bands and you're up there playing all this crazy rock music,
by the
and
time
stuff,
that I had
you had a real guitar then.
Yeah, let me see, what was it? At home though, we would write on acoustic guitars, but when we would play electric guitar, I had like a jazz master. It was really cool.
A jazz master.
Yeah, it was just
All
kind of
right.
our band kind of had a few guitars. It belonged to Eric, but he would let me use it.
Okay.
And it just really super cool.
Killer.
And you know, all those bands at that time were having it too, like the Buzzcocks and Television, and they had those, you know, and Elvis Costello, they had that type of 60s Fender guitar.
Yeah.
And we were trying to be that kind of band.
Heck
We
yeah.
were. It was great.
Killer.
But then when I went to Baby Frenzy, that turned into, okay, so, to know about me is that I had a real European bent, and so I liked stuff that were sort of Grateful Dead bands. Didn't sound like Grateful Dead bands, but bands that were like followed by cults of people, but in Europe. Okay.
Okay.
So there's bands that, even though they don't sound like the Grateful Dead, they have that same kind of world. And
Sure.
so one of them, my favorite one, was called Hawkwind. And so Baby Frenzy was like trying to be like Hawkwind.
Okay. All right.
So we had like synthesizer, you know, Silver Machine, you know, so we were trying to be like that, and everybody again still had super long hair. Silver Machine.
Oh my gosh.
You know, and so and then yeah, it was cool. And it was in Lodi, and we lived out on a farm. It was my friend Duncan, and it was really very nice. But at that time, you know, I'm trying to condense this, but it wouldn't make sense if I didn't explain like what people were like. So I got to take the time to go. People were really competitive, man. So if you had a band, and I'm just going to lay it out.
Yeah.
If you had a band and they had everything and each guy looked like the guy in whatever it was that was hot at that time, let's say it was Van Halen. So you had a singer that looked like David Lee Roth and all that kind of stuff. If there was another band that had that, but some other thing like these guys just hated each other and they just like...
Crazy rivalry.
It was, and it was really like wrestling now, but back then it was with rock and we were just boys, you know. We were just young men, and we were caught in a valley that had, you know, if you were going to get discovered in it, you definitely had to do that tutorial of where you go up the ranks to end up being in like the Children of Journey or something. You had to take all these
Gotcha.
vocal lessons and have your hair this way and that way, and go,
Jesus.
oh, you know, blah 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 gave me lessons. She's an opera singer. All this. I'm not lying about any of this.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And I'm just sitting there with my little pencil drawing like album covers and stuff and going, I don't know how to do any of that. So
Right? It's no fun just being a
so
clone.
I took what I could be, which was a person with an artistic temperament, and you know, go, I like what I read in books, and I like when people like Patti Smith sort of has lyrics like that, so I like that. And I like music that's like, dangerous sounding, but still has really interesting harmonic development, and so I guess I'm just going to be in the underground for the rest of my life, and that's what happened.
Right.
But the overground looked pretty, although Broken Toys got pretty close, but still, it's it's no fun. You've probably tried. You've been there. You've had to taste like what it's like to do what they tell you to do and be like, what's happening right now, and it's nasty.
I haven't gotten that far down into that just because it's not my thing,
Yeah.
So once I get to a point where I have to not be myself to appease something or get to where somebody else wants me to be, I just kind of say screw it.
Well, I have this. You can never tell how these things happen, but at that time, like bands like Judas Priest and these heavy metal bands, to where they'd be singing along, and then the guy would hit the big high note. Right? I could do that. That's one of the only little things I could do. I couldn't do anything else. I couldn't go, I'm gonna take you in my monster car. I couldn't sing like that or any of that kind of stuff. But I could go, and so these bands were just throwing me around, man. Like, get that dude. He can sing Beyond the Realms of Death by Judas Priest. I was like, I was getting tired of that. But it was making money doing it.
Yeah.
And I was in a couple of bands that did, and this drummer from this band that was trying to start up saw me and came up to me and he says, I can tell you don't want to do that anymore. He said it right to me. Right. The best pickup line ever. Yeah. He just said, I can tell that you don't want to do that anymore, but man, he goes, your voice is great. You should be doing something else. And then he goes, and I'm in a band that's doing stuff that's like Tears for Fears, and like nobody else in this town is going to give me a number right now. And yeah, it was great. And so I joined Broken Toys. That was great. But before that, in between that was the Torn Boys.
Yeah.
So that's the thing that's happening.
Boys.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about that, because
that's happening now.
You're having an LP that's coming back, right? That you guys are going to put out for the Torn Boys.
Never put it out before. This is the first time.
Yeah.
So, which is interesting to me. So they're using pictures of us when we're all cute like the monkeys, and not us now. I want to play some rock and roll, new wave. Yeah. It's not like that. And so we're just all cute and and it's so awesome, man. I couldn't believe it happened. But this label, right, is called Independent Projects Records, and so and they had back then it was Bruce Leitcher, and they just had they had Savage Republic, which was sort of the leading band down there. And so when you hear about like Coachella and stuff like that, or they were the first people that ever put on a big happening out in the desert in LA. Like that's they were the ones that put it on. It had Sonic Youth a long time ago. Before Sonic Youth was Sonic Youth.
Love Sonic Youth.
They were just young little kids.
Killer.
But it was about noise and fire, and it was actually before Burning Man too. Anyway, Bruce Leitcher. So this guy, all these years later, has this label, and he knew about this band that I was in, which is an offshoot of this other thing called Shiva Burlesque, and it's called the Torn Boys. We were before that, and we were here in town, and so we would play in town, but the only place that would have us, as you can imagine, was the Blackwater.
Of course, the Blackwater.
So we had a regular,
course.
And we were just like, what would it be the equivalent of? Sort of like, kind of like, I'm not trying to compare ourselves in terms of greatness, but just in terms of what we were trying to go for. But like the way Oingo Boingo was just a huge thing. I mean, we didn't have a whole bunch of people, but we put up paintings, and we had strobe lights, and we would shave on stage, and we would do songs we put on a play 2 nights in a row. We put on 2 nights in a row.
Wow.
Because the guy that owned the Blackwater thing goes, you're not going to do that again. Next night, man, it was sold out. Because there's so many of our artist weirdo friends would pack that place out that we could do whatever we want. We had a play called Room 26. Oh my God. Oh, shit, Kelly. What have you done? 2 nights, man.
Oh, that's funny.
Oh, that's like that thing where you hear about the story about Neil Young, to where he played his new album where all these people were waiting for stuff from Harvest. And then he plays the entire album, the stuff that nobody had ever heard before, and then he comes out for an encore, and he goes, okay, I'll play you some songs you've heard before, and then he plays the whole album again.
That's funny.
That's kind of what we did. We did room 26 and come back for tomorrow night's performance. There weren't as many people the second night.
Oh,
but
gosh.
But it was a play, man. You know?
Heck yeah. I love
It was 25 minutes long. I mean, we did our other show, but on the set list it just said room 26. And all right,
There you go.
So I'm sorry to put a lot of time into that, but we did do that. We did that. And so the Torn Boys would go and play at the Blackwater, and at first we had this kind of avant-garde guitar player that was from my band I was in before called Krell, who had Gary Young. I'll go backwards to that. And he would play some kind of thing, and then we ended up with Grant, the famous Grant of Grantley, Buffalo, and he was 19, and so then all of a sudden, whoa, everything like locked into Puzzle Place, and we only played for a little while, but we were lucky enough to record, and we made like a little EP, and we recorded live stuff, and so this album that's put together after a lot of jiggery pokery. I really stand by it, and it's got a lot of. The thing that's really interesting about it for me is that since Bruce Leitcher, this guy from Savage Republic, also won Emmys for doing artwork for Camper Van Beethoven and REM and all this stuff. He's really famous. He uses an offset press. You have to see it. Anyway, he and his wife designed. It's like a 20-page booklet. And it's got a CD, and it's got a 3 different colors of vinyl, and it's got the big fold out, all of that stuff, and it's also got a DVD that has 4 videos. We made 4 videos for it, and two of them, me and this guy David Grisolfi, who did some work for Shiva Burlesque and some stuff for Broken Toys. He's a filmmaker guy. We did a full animation. So anyway, I'm sorry. I gotta make it. I gotta, condense that down if I'm gonna pimp that stuff. That's the first time I've ever said, "Here's what it does." But it is really It's really something. And the thing that I like about it is that even though the quality of it is, we've recorded it in 1982, and only a little bit of it is in studio. Some other of it is just done in bedrooms and stuff. It's still okay. It's really got this beautiful warmth and if you're the kind of person that pulls for an artist that can only has string and a dead bug and a little piece of wire, and here's my song, this is for you. It's really good. It's really cool.
So when will that be available for people?
Couple of months.
In a couple months?
Yeah.
Okay, so they need to just keep checking back on pages and stuff.
But if you put in, we have a single out right now called "See Through My Eyes," and this filmmaker lady from Los Angeles. But if you look at Torn Boys, or maybe I don't know, do you attach stuff to your?
I can.
Yeah, you put that. The Torn Boys video is on YouTube now.
Okay.
And we have 2 videos. I think the second one came out.
Nice.
By about middle of spring, we'll have all 4 of our videos out.
Nice.
And but it's not going to be the kind of band that's going to play live. There might be There might be some younger people that could. Are you interested? That could do. It's because we have songs that are just absolute, just chill folk music, just guitar and 2 vocals, and then we have stuff that's so. Anyway. Sorry, I don't mean to recruit you on your own show. But there's going to be a party. There's going to be the record label's going to front for a record release here.
Nice.
But the way record releases go nowadays, it's not like it's Tuesday, let's run to the record store. It's just like you look on your phone and you go,
Yeah. Well, a lot of things are streaming now, so it's just kind of it's up for download now. Let's hit the button. It's not, like you say, you go to the store and have a whole to-do about the album that just came out,
So anyway, that thing you're talking about right there is I'm trying to present me and my kind as we would call it bookshelf artists.
Huh, okay.
Right? So even though you do music, it's sort of like a book. You collect it.
That's interesting.
You would send away for it or look for it because it costs more because it's
That's an interesting way to look at it.
We're not going to sell millions, but in 30 years from now, people put it out and go, what's this?
Right?
Yeah.
So
it's guaranteed. Bruce Leitcher's a genius.
I wanted to ask as well, or talk about a little bit, there was the documentary that had come out, Louder Than You Think.
Yeah.
Now, was the Torn Boys featured in that? Or I know
No.
Pavement was.
Yeah, Pavement definitely is, yeah. Okay, so the story on that is that when I was in Broken Toys, we were the only band in town at that time that with our own money, because we made a bunch of money playing all the time, we made our own, it's hard to believe, but at the time we made our own vinyl, and people go, well, you made your own record? I mean, we had
That's
vinyl, and people go, whoa, you vinyl? Because everybody's making cassette tapes or, and CDs, or it was that time.
Yeah.
The industry were changing. We made enough money that we did all our own art. It was a beautiful piece of art. And so I worked with Scott, who was in Pavement. And one day I was at the Blackwater, and there was open mic, and it was really fun. And he and this kid, Steve and Malcolm, get up there, and they go, hi, we're Scott and Steve. And Jeff was there. My friend Jeff was there, too. And we're going to play some songs. And 8 minutes later, I was like, oh my God. I had seen something like it. I can't tell you what it was, but I had that feeling of like, what happened right there? And they just had 2 guitars,
Oh, wow.
and just standing there right in front of it was in the Blackwater.
Nice.
And the place was packed, and everybody kind of went, yeah, like that. But I would look over at Jeff, and Jeff was like, oh,
mind
so
blown.
It was so far ahead of any, than anything. I mean, I could compare it to stuff, but I'd have to compare it to like literature or something, or some really killer movie that just goes when you follow it.
Yeah.
Because usually stuff can be really off the wall, and you go, you tried. I was like. And he's just sitting there going, hey, the Steve Malcolm, and now you know it.
Yeah.
The whole world is, but this is before that. The reason why I'm going so off about that is because the next day at work, Scott was there, and I was going, oh my God,
Still on about it, yeah?
and he said, hey, man, can you get us into that studio where Broken Toys made that record? We want to record it. And I go, I cannot. I won't do that because the people at that studio will go, get the hell out of here. What are you? But I know you're a genius. So hold on a second. Hold on 1 second, man. Let me go do something. So I go in the back and I get on the phone and I make the call. And I go, Gary, yeah. I go,
That's
okay,
killer.
man. Gary, I don't know what's up with this, but you know how you wanted me to get you to come, have people come in and be in your studio because you got all that new stuff? He's going, yeah. And I go, okay, man. There's these 2 kids, and and they got the money. That's no matter what comes from this conversation, I want you to take that away in your head. They got the money, man. And all the other people, they know, hey, man, here's my mom's picture or whatever,
Oh gosh.
But they have the actual money. So keep that in mind. Now, the next thing I'm going to tell you, just go with it, okay? He's like,
okay.
What? And I go, okay, these kids, you know how like when I show you like punk rock or like weird art rock and stuff, you go, that stuff's terrible. and he goes, yeah. And I go, this is 3 times beyond that. You own it. You just don't say anything and just hit record.
Oh, that's funny.
And he goes, what do you do? I go, they got the money. He's go, oh yeah. And so, and I go, and one other thing, this is really important, Gary, because Gary used to do this thing. We used to bring all kinds of bands into this place. But he would always play them, Winter too high and love. By Stevie Wonder. He would, and he'd go, my brother, his brother won like a Grammy.
Yeah.
His brother was on the East Coast, and he was an engineer. My brother says, this is the best record made today. And so he'd play time, so this is what we got to do. And I go, whatever you do, no matter what you do anything you want, but don't play these guys that high or low. Don't do that.
Yeah, that's funny.
And so anyway, in the movie, you haven't seen the movie yet.
No, I have not watched it yet.
In the movie, they show how he goes in. It's a whole story. But I got a hold of him the next day, Scott, and I said, he goes, yeah, everything's going to work out okay. We need to recording and stuff. And I go, did he goes,
Yeah, he did.
Oh, Gary, God damn it. Do you still want to play? He's going, no, it's cool. It's like, oh, Gary, God dang it. Anyway, so.
That's funny.
Pavement. It was, I needed to, and at the time, me and my friend Jeff one other thing is I did go there after they went there, and I kind of snuck in with Gary. I go, God, can I, I want to see how this is going. And he played, it was their first EP, man.
Huh.
That thing's worth like $1,200 on eBay now.
Wow.
He just went, because I don't, it's a bunch of noise to me, but I played drums on one of them. I go, just hit play and just walk away, Gary. Just hit play. He's like, yeah, all right. And I was like, oh my God. And then later, it's like, thank you, Kelly, thank you. But yeah.
That's funny.
Isn't that funny? That's just that part of this. Oh my God, it goes on and on.
Well, that's killer, though.
Yeah.
I mean,
that part's not in the movie, which is why I tried to.
Sure.
I mean, it is a little bit. It just has me going. I know a guy, and I was going, hey, we filmed that whole story. What the fuck? Anyway.
Oh, man. Well, that's cool, but people are able to go watch the documentary on
Not yet. Okay,
no?
So with that, here's what's up. People that are interested in the movie world.
Yes.
For one thing, don't make a movie because it costs too much money. But if you're going to do it, I have no advice. But well, man, we won the South by Southwest Award. Oh my God. Nice. So, like when it comes up and it'll be on whatever, Netflix or something like that, it has a little thing with those little little wings around it. It says special winner. We're gonna
So that's going to be on Netflix at some point?
I don't know. It's whoever buys it, because it doesn't work like that. It doesn't, Netflix isn't who buys it. It's production companies that have a lot of money buy it, and then they lease it to Netflix kind of thing, right?
All right.
And so it'll be on one of those, but it just got back from Europe, it won the award at the Irish Festival too. It went to China, it went around the whole world, Russia, everything. It just got back.
Awesome.
And so it's going to be playing in Stockton in a live theater, and we're going to have a party for it too. I don't know when, but it'll be in a real movie theater here.
Nice. That'll be killer.
We don't have when I say we, I'm just the dude in it going, Gary did this. But the production company, Highway 99 Filmworks, brilliant job they did, is under the control of this guy in Germany that books it everywhere and go, don't do it here because, these guys know what they're doing,
Right.
They definitely do, because this movie blew up. But then Gary passed away.
Yeah.
And so.
Yeah, and that was recently, wasn't it?
It's fucking tough. But he did, and me and Ileana got to go and everything. He did get to go to Austin, and when we won the award.
Nice.
But I went to a bunch of.
That's good.
I went to the Nevada City Film Festival. I went to the San Francisco Film Festival. Yeah. The South by Southwest.
Awesome.
And then it just after that it went all over the whole world.
Heck yeah. So people need to keep eyes out for Louder Than You Think.
It's really good.
Yeah.
The Gary Young and Pavement story.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. So
let's talk about some stuff that's going on now with you. So what bands do you have happening right now that people can maybe go catch a show?
Am I in? I'm in The Men Who Fell to Earth. The Men Who
Fell to Earth, the David Bowie tribute.
I'm in that.
Yes, I love it.
That's the only band that I'm in, I guess. And then everything else is sort of like a collective of me and my friends just doing kind of art terrorism,
Okay.
Yeah, just and so what I've been trying to do, I'm 64, I'm going to be 65, so I'm trying to, I'm not going to retire, but before I hit that sort of symbolic retirement age, I'm trying to get in, we did a full musical theater performance for an 80-year-old lady's birthday, and man, it was nerve-wracking as hell. And afterwards, I heard she said, I thought they were going to act 2.
Oh, no.
But man, we did that. We were doing The Impossible Dream, and we were doing stuff from Frozen, and oh my God, I did that. And I've been singing with a trying to do hard rock band. When I say hard rock, I don't mean Tool or anything like that. More like Montrose, more for my age, but still, it's a strain. And so, a lot of cock rock stuff. I've been doing that, and I've been doing super attenuated vocal stuff with me and Zach Silver and Karen Hobbin and Bob and Holly, and just to the point to where just the lightest amount of instruments, and then we just burn these 4-part things any way that we can, and we'll sing guitar leads. We'll eliminate all the instruments and do it with voices. It sounded really good. That's something that's really cool. I like that. That's going really good. So on the music, I'm just trying to get to the edges of that. I've been playing with some young kids here in town that are on the classical part and really good, like Rafael Luna, the flute player who I met through Aaliyah, and Aaron Anderson, this really high-level violin player. These are young people, and I played, Sydney Cruz has played with us and stuff, and so we're just trying to, I call it the bottom 40.
Okay.
And so, because mostly what I do is cover songs nowadays, because that's what people want, man.
Yeah.
And
sadly.
And I'm trying to be a singer, and if I could write songs as good as the song, I would do it.
Yeah.
And so we do originals. I'm under a lot of pressure to do originals a lot, because I was in Funky Citizens and Broken Toys and Gary Young's Hospital and blah, blah, blah. I was in all these bands. Oh, so you're there. We have your album and all that stuff. I have 8 different albums that I come from. So I'll reach into it every once in a while, but I don't know, man. I like playing The Cure, and I like playing The Beatles, and I like playing,
Sure.
like Melba Moore.
Do you have any gigs lined up?
Yeah.
When's the next time you're playing?
Let's see. God, when is it? I know that the Menenfelder Earth is going to be trying to play in Lodi at a winery called Jesse's Grove.
Oh yeah.
And Jesse Grove, if you hear it, book us. But so we're trying to do that, and so that's like a big show that takes up a lot of time. But the next I'm playing with Anthony. Remember,
Okay.
And I'm playing the gig with him. We're doing something for somebody's birthday.
Okay.
You know what I've been doing that I really like to do is playing at this place called the Black Rabbit.
Yeah, the Black Rabbit. Yeah.
Because what you can do is just right on the street, man, just like folk music central. Just set up your little PA, and they put on a little cord, and you just start screaming, and people drive by on there and going, whoa.
Right?
And everybody's sitting out there, and you can do whatever you want.
Heck yeah.
And it's really fun. And the people there are really cool, really young, like, alternative, dark wave kids that love music no matter what you do.
Yeah.
Now you could just be doing the Carpenters for 4 songs in a row. They go, that's right. I love the Carpenters. I didn't mean anything by that.
Yeah. Oh, that's killer. Yeah. So one of the things, the thing that I end all of my interviews on. Yeah.
Wait, look, can I look here? I want to see it.
Yes.
Let me see. Okay. Let me just do this real fast. All right. We did that. We did that. Okay, it was in Dada 96, and that Dada 96 was a synthesizer band, and we had a song called Apologetic. I was in the Clamtones with David. I was in Randy Sparks' band. If you ever look up Randy Sparks, he had the New Christie Minstrels, and I was in his band in 1981. I was a singer, and other singers that he had was like the guy from the Byrds and all kinds of different people. Glenn Campbell. Anyway, I was in the Clamtones that has Dave Halford. That was also with Dirk Hamilton too.
Oh gosh.
I was in Broken Toys. I'm in a band called Toadstool Theater with Zach Silver. We have a couple of records out. I'm in this musical collective called Crib Life, which is now called Oy Veg, but it's a group of musicians, like about 20 different people that get together and just do jamming, and it's like an improvisational comedy thing, but it's done with music. I was in a band called Manhole, which was a duo. It was kind of like a Pet Shop Boys thing, but take it from there what you think about that. And then I was in with the guy from the Ophelias, Leslie Medford, really genius band, the Ophelias. I was in a Rolling Stones cover band, Only the Stones. They were great. I was in Elmhenge. Elmhenge is like a Yes and Genesis kind of full-scale 20-minute songs with flute solos, kind of progressive rock band. I was in Crib Life Elmhenge. I was in Gary Young's Hospital. I was in Fractal Hoedown. You would like them. This is when I was in LA. Fractal Hoedown.
I love some of these names.
Fractal Hoedown was run by Elena Powell. She's this really brilliant singer and songwriter. And then we changed our name to the Glitter Folk. Oh, wow. Same band. Then I was in Toadstool Theater. Then I was in a band called... I was also, before that, I was in a band called the Vanilla Butt Shake.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that right there? The Vanilla Butt Shake. They have a great album called Journey to the Center of the Butt. I apologize.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious.
And all the songs are just, anal-centric, about shaking, about how in order to do funk. And it's, I mean, we'll get canceled, but I was in it. My name in it was called P.U. White Thing, Percival Ulysses White Thing. We had songs like Get Your Buns in Action.
Oh my gosh.
It just goes on and on.
That's funny.
Good record, though. Really good record. And then, so what I was going to tell you about that was that we had a politer version of it. That was in the Bay Area, and we opened for like Eka Mouse and Curveball. We had a good run. Then we sort of took away all the nasty stuff and did a G-rated version of it, and it was called Funky Citizens, and this was here in Stockton. That was the band did really good. We have a really great record. Then that's a lot of people. We did You Don't Know Jack, which was a video game, and so we were like on 1 through 6. We were on every we sing it like a number 4.
We had
hundreds, and we got some songs out of it too. We some songs that were left over that they didn't use. We expanded.
Huh.
Then Elmhenge, Glasswing did Blue Boy Cometh is my friend who lived in India for like a total of 2 years. And he's just this like hard rock kind of Tool band. Then it kind of ends up here. Oy Veg was that thing I was at. The Ballads was this show that I put on for 2 shows. One was at the Hagen Museum, and the other one was at the State Theater within a couple of months, and it had 24 people in it. You probably have heard about it. There was a lot of people. All these people were in it.
Heck yeah.
And then I moved to Nevada City. And then when I came back, it's kind of fun. I think we covered most of that stuff there. I was in 1995, my band went to Lollapalooza. In 94, we were on tour with Mercury Rev and Sonic Youth. And guys, I'm starting to run out of gas when I'm trying to remember all this stuff. And then I have my latest thing that I've been doing, aside from playing music with my friends here, is doing animation. And so I've been doing a lot of that. And playing with Sydney Cruz, these brilliant young people that I just want to give,
Heck
yeah, give the pump to. So, ta-da!
Heck yeah. Heck yeah. No, it's great. I love it. Lots of history. It's
so
great.
what was the last thing you did?
Yeah, so what I close my interviews out on are words of wisdom.
Oh, God.
Yes, sir.
You're going to say it, though, right?
No, this is all you, man. So, yeah, just drop some words of wisdom, whatever you think is good, and we'll close it out on that.
There's an energy that's built into something. Maybe it's the center of the earth. Maybe it's the ley lines, L-E-Y. Maybe it's aliens. Maybe it's God. But there's access to it if you find a way to study how to maintain that thread and never lose it, which is an artistic spark. And if it's music that you're into, it's not going to be just about music. That you're going to find out from something a little baby says across the street, or the way an engine roars across the street, or the way you're able to take a series of numbers and transfer it into musical notes like Holtz did for the Planets.
That's beautiful. You're listening to Mudville Sounds.